Hey everybody, welcome to my video showing you hopefully how to diagnose and fix the jamming issues that you're having with your Backland Hunter. Now, first things first, if you're having feeding issues because of these magazines that come with the gun, this is not the video for you. I'll try and film another video showing hopefully how to fix these things. I haven't tried yet, but I have an idea on how to fix them. That'll be coming soon. But anyways, that's not what we're discussing today. Today we are discussing jamming issues with this thing. If you're having issues when you try to charge this thing, right? If you try to pull the charging handle and it's not smooth, if it feels like there's sand in there, if it's incredibly difficult to pull that charging handle back, if you're, having jamming issues with this bolt not seating forward all the way, there is one reason why, if you pull the bolt back and then you slowly let it go, it stays right there, right? And there's a reason why it does that. I'll get into that when I disassemble. But if you're having issues with this bolt itself not being smooth at all, this is the video for you. First things first, we need to take this thing apart. So I'm gonna use my punch here. I'm gonna open this bad boy up. Put the door receiver away. And we're gonna start with taking out the bolt carrier group. Now, everything should start right here. If you're having issues, start here. If this bolt is not moving smoothly, this is what your issue is. This rat tail right here is held in place by a little pin right there. Not that pin, that's the cotter pin that keeps the firing pin in place. But this little rat tail pin right here, you kind of see that there's a cutout up there. If you've never taken this apart before, then you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll take it apart and show you. So let me go ahead and take that pin out. Got a pin here in my hammer. Normally you'd use like a plastic hammer or a brass hammer, but since I'm using a punch that I'm pretty sure is made out of aluminum, I'm not really too worried. All right, I just lost that pin. Let me grab it. All right, here's the pin that keeps the rat tail in place. And you'll notice that it has a cutout, right? Now it's a little silvery because I grinded it down, and that's what I had to do to fix this thing and stop it from chewing into the firing pin. So there's that little cutout, and that fits underneath the firing pin. So let me just go ahead and take the firing pin out and show you what I'm talking about. Take the cotter pin out, firing pin slides right out, and I've grinded it down so it's not as bad as it was, but you see all those marks in there on the firing pin are from this damn thing going in there. It would be more like, it would be like this, but it's going like that. It's digging into the firing pin every time it cycles. And the reason why, at first I thought it was doing this, you see it's silver on this side because I ground it down. I'm just gonna put this in here without anything in, just to show you. So this is obviously over exaggerated, but it used to stick out a bunch, like obviously not that much. Like I said, this is well over exaggerated just for the video, but this rail right here on the side of the bolt carrier group, there's one on each side if you don't know, that rail there, that rail right there, and this pin was sticking out further than the rail, and it was digging in to the upper receiver. Look at that. You see that line right there? That is some ridiculousness right there. And so what I thought was happening was every time that was riding against the receiver, that was causing the pin to twist. So I filed it down so that when it's fully installed, it wouldn't fit past the rails, right? So that was that, but I still had the issue. Well, then I realized that the retaining pin itself was actually really snug inside of the rat tail, the holes here on the rat tail that support it. You would slide this in here as it's supposed to go, but the rat tail didn't move freely because these holes were not made wide enough. So this was catching every time the rat tail would move, it would twist the pin with it. So I thought, okay, I'll drill that out. I used my Dremel. I widened those holes just a little bit. So now it moves completely free, right? There's no issues with that sliding and taking the pin with it, but it's still caught on the firing pin. So the last thing I had to do, the last thing I've tried so far, like I said, I haven't taken it out to the field yet, but I have managed to not be able to reproduce the issue anymore, is I actually grinded along those bevels because I just didn't think that they were wide enough or that they were beveled enough to stop catching on the firing pin. So that's what I did. I filed those down with my Dremel, and I have not had an issue yet. The easiest way to replicate this issue, this has a 100% replication rate. If you are having problems and you're like, what the heck? This is how you test to see if this is the problem. You have to know how to put everything back together properly first. So if you don't know, let me just fully take this apart so I can show you from the start. Right, okay, we got the empty carrier group here, or the empty carrier, I don't know what you call this bit. But anyways, this is the bolt. Bolt goes in. If you're looking at it from this angle, the little ejection pin is going to go bottom right. That bit's going to go top left if you're looking at it from this way. All right? Okay. So then line up that hole, and then we're going to put this pin back. You want to make sure that it's horizontal, and then that will fit inside the hole, and then you spin it vertically. There you go. Now you can put the firing pin back in. Firing pin goes in that hole there. Bam. Then you can put the cotter pin back in. Cotter pin can be a little bit difficult, but I'll show you a trick. So what I do is, first of all, get the prongs inside of the hole there. Sorry if the camera's not showing, I'll show you this next part better. Those prongs, as you see, they go across the firing pin. When the top prong reaches the hole it's supposed to be in, you're going to put downward pressure on it, and that's going to keep that top prong inside of the hole where it needs to be, and the bottom prong will line up with it. Sorry, this is difficult to do through the camera. And then you can just push the whole thing through. And there you go. Make sure that's in. Doesn't really matter the orientation of the cotter pin, but just for OCD, I don't know, I like to have it horizontal. Okay, now we're going to put the rat tail back in. The rat tail is going to go in like this. I'm going to line up those holes there. And you're going to make sure that that cutout, because the firing pin runs along basically in the middle here, right? So you're going to want to make sure that that cutout is right underneath the firing pin. So you see the orientation that I have it right now. I'm just going to flip it this way and put it in. But I have to make sure that that rat tail is lined up properly. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it well on camera, but I'm going to try my best. There we go. Okay, so once I got it in a little bit, then I can really double check the orientation on that pin. Make sure that that cutout is practically perfect. Okay, so that's where it needs to be. Double check on that side. No, it's not quite perfect. You really want to try to get it as perfect as possible because of how damn temperamental this thing is. It's really not perfect, but it should do the job, right? You should be able to, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my punch here and I'm just going to line it up with that and punch it back in. And now we'll observe. And it looks pretty good. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. You just need to remember the orientation. You can take a picture if you want. Just remember how lined up that looks. Now, this will not go back into the upper receiver if the bolt is inserted. So you need to remove it like that. Not remove it, but it needs to be out. It needs to be out. So then you can line that back up, put it in. Now we're going to put the whole thing back together. Okay, now this is how you replicate it. If you're having issues before, just cycle the action a couple times. I like to do about 10 at least. That way you know for sure if there's any issues, it should appear. So after you do that, take it back apart again. And remove that bolt carrier group. Now, if you're having issues, this thing is going to stick. You're not going to be able to push it as smoothly as I am like this. It's so smooth that I can hold it, if I push it in like that and then hold this, I can just, give it a light one of those and it comes right out, right? That's how easy it should be. It should be one finger, barely any force. There's going to be a little bit of resistance, but you shouldn't be forcing that thing in. And if you are, then you're probably going to notice that that is twisted to the side. And if it's twisted to the side, you're having the same issues that I did. And I think a lot of other people are. Anyways, so when I was showing you earlier, if you're still following along, and you know, I tried to, I pulled the charging handle back and slowly brought it forward, and the bolt stopped about halfway, right? The reason why it does that is because of this bit right here. If you have the first gen Backland Hunter like I do, you have basically an AR-15 bolt that has been cut in half, and in the factory they booger welded, as you can see, the amazing job that they did there, this little reset bracket on. And what this reset bracket does is it goes and it slides across the hammer to reset it, right? To get it down. So let me just go ahead and show you. The bottom of the bolt carrier will slide across the hammer, but they have this little bit here, I guess, to ensure that the hammer goes down far enough in order to reset. They didn't specify what, but on the phone that they said that this bit has a tendency to break, and they don't sell replacement parts. Very interesting. But anyways, yeah, so if you're wondering why this thing doesn't seat all the way forward, if you're just giving it like a light, if you try to like follow the bolt back home, why it stops halfway is because that reset bracket there is getting hung up. Not getting hung up, but it's basically just sticking right there, right? It doesn't want to go any further. So that's why you need to pull it back and let it go home so that it can clear that, because otherwise it's just going to stay right there. If you had, you know, concerns as to why that happened, now you know why it happens. There's not really anything you can do to fix that. I don't think you can grind that any bit. You see how shiny that is? I didn't do that. That's just from use, right? That's just from use. And I've only shot maybe, you know, less than 50 rounds out of this thing. I think 45 rounds is all I've shot. But I'm hoping this thing doesn't break. So get this fixed as soon as possible. If you're having those issues, you really want to fix those as soon as possible, because otherwise you're going to have issues like me, where you have just, look at that, look at that silver streak down there. That is from the charging handle basically eating itself. You see, it's basically flat now. There should be a little nub right here, but it's basically flat because it has filed itself down. You can see right here, because of me trying to just pull the freaking charging handle back, because this thing would get stuck, right? Like it would get stuck in there, and trying to pull it out would take a ridiculous amount of effort. So hopefully you guys learned something. I hope this helps you with your issues. If you're trying to put this back, remember, bolt has to come out, and now it'll slide in. I'll just show you, right? Like if you have the bolt in like that, you're gonna be like, why isn't it fitting? Because of this bit right here, this pin. That pin is interfering, so you need to make sure that that's out of the way so it goes in properly. So, like I said, hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you guys fix your issues with this. Good luck, have fun, happy shooting. Bring a friend to the range, because I don't want this sport to die. I don't think it should. This is a huge part of Canadian culture, and people should celebrate that. So take a friend to the range and enjoy your day. Happy holidays.